everyone. Hopefully you're all doing well. Thanks for joining me today. Or if you're watching this later on, thanks for joining me in the future. All right, so for those who don't know me, my name is Kat, and I guess I've been teaching with Yoga Buzz for a little over a year, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of hard to keep track. But any hoozles, that's my name, and today will be a 45-minute practice. If you have any props that you would like to use, go ahead and grab them now. I recommend blocks. If you enjoy using those, I use them sometimes in my practice. And maybe a strap too. And if you don't have a strap, you could always use a belt or even a towel. So if you want to just maybe take some time to go ahead and grab that, I'll give you time to do that before we go ahead and get started. The other thing I'd like to say is feel free to listen to some music. I did not create a playlist like I normally do. I've decided, since it's such a lovely day outside, to just try to let nature be the music today. So maybe you're even outside doing this, so that's awesome. I was a little worried about taking my computer outside, given it would probably be too loud. So, and I don't have the special headsets to use. So yeah, I figured I would just stay here in my sunroom. And in case you're wondering, I have not been invaded by my plants. I brought my ferns in because it was crazy weather the other night, and so I haven't had a chance to get them back outside. But hopefully that's bringing some lovely joy to you for the class today. All right, so if you've gone ahead and grabbed the props, and if you don't want to use the props, that's fine. Even with the strap, you can always just lift the arms up. You don't have to use them. It's just everything's optional. So the thing is with my classes, I like to always say that you are free to move your body in a way that feels good to you. If I cue anything that doesn't feel good, you're welcome to not do the movement or adjust in a way that feels better for you. The thing is, we all have different bodies. There's a thing called anatomical variations. So sometimes people will cue, or teachers, I should say, might cue maybe the toes pointing out a certain way that might not feel as good on the knees for you. So you're welcome to adjust in a way that does work for you. Just because we're teachers doesn't mean we're always the experts. We may know a few things. My background's in physical therapy, but even then, that's not my role today. My role is a guide for you today here as a yoga teacher. So we'll go ahead and get started laying down on our backs, or if you wish, you could always lay on the side, or maybe you prefer the position prone, which is belly down, and then maybe using the hands to rest the cheek. So just find here what resting position works for you. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down on my back. And then know that if there's a lot of pressure in that low back, you're always welcome to bend the knees here with the soles of the feet on the ground. And then you might feel more of that low back connection with the floor mat beneath you. Then go ahead and bring the hands out to the sides. The palms can be facing up towards the ceiling or the sky, or maybe even facing the palms down. And then if the eyes are open, I invite you to close them or soften the gaze here. And then feel free to acknowledge the sounds around you, whatever they may be. And then begin to try to let go of those sounds and just take your attention to your inner body. And if you find that the mind is wandering here, know that this is completely normal. It's what minds do. So one way of trying to calm the mind with racing thoughts or whatever you may be feeling, or maybe you're thinking about some to-do lists for later, is focusing on our breath. So repeating to yourself, I inhale on the inhale, maybe feeling the belly and chest rise, and on the exhale, repeating the word exhale. So just continuing to do that at your own pace, giving yourself time to become centered on your mat before we begin our movement today. knowing that this is just as important in a yoga practice as the movement. Maybe this is your entire yoga practice for the next 45 minutes or so. Continuing to breathe in. Maybe you're breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Continuing to say to yourself that mantra, or maybe you have another saying or repetition of words that you prefer using. So go ahead and use whatever you feel best using. And then maybe even bringing the left hand to the heart or to the chest, and then the right hand to the low belly. And continuing your breathing practice here. Inhaling through the nose. And then maybe exhaling out through the mouth. You might notice that the exhales are deeper than the inhales, or maybe it's vice versa for you. Knowing there's no right or wrong here. Just acknowledging how your breath is moving in your body right here, right now on your mat. And if you wish, and if you enjoy doing so, you're welcome to set an intention for your practice. Maybe today you just want to mindfully move the body, taking a break if you're working. For me, I'm actually working today, and I'm teleworking from home. So for me, this is my lunch break. So whatever that is for you, finding what that is, or maybe you don't even know what that is, and know that that's okay too. And if the eyes are closed, I invite you to blink open the eyes. And then we're going to make our way up to a seated position. So if you're laying on your back, you're welcome to turn to one side and then using the opposite hand to push yourself back up to a seated position, coming up nice and gentle, nice and slowly. And then making your way to a seated position, whatever that looks like for you. If you enjoy using a blanket under the hips, you can do so now. I don't have my blanket handy, so I am just connecting with the mat. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm nice and connected here. I like to rock from side to side and really feel the sit bones connect with my mat. And then once I feel that, inhaling, rolling the shoulders up, back and down, allowing that chest to just come forward just slightly. And then bringing the hands down to the sides. And then on an inhale, just raising the hands up to shoulder height and then exhale, lower. Starting off nice and slow. Inhale up, exhale, lower. Inhale up, exhale, lower. Next inhale, we're going to take the arms up over the head. Maybe the gaze follows, palms can touch. Exhale, bringing hands down to heart center. Inhale, reaching the hands up. Then exhale, floating the hands down or resting the hands down to the sides. Just like that, 3 more times. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale lower. 2 more times. Inhale, raise. Gaze can follow. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. 1 more time here. And know that if I cue a breathing and you're maybe exhaling when I say inhale, don't sweat it. It's totally fine. All right, rolling those shoulders up, back and down. 1 more time here, letting the gaze come forward. Acknowledging the breath here, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. All right, finding some side bends here. We're gonna let the left hand rest down to the side of the mat. Inhale, reaching up with the right. Really feel the fingers lift up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then exhale over to the left. We're looking for that stretch in the right side of the body here. Maybe feel it all the way down to the hip. Sometimes people like to walk out the hands a bit longer and then making sure that that hip is connected down to that mat. So making sure it doesn't lift up, otherwise it takes away the stretch. So you're welcome to maybe try doing that and then noticing the difference here in that stretch. Gaze can look down towards the mat, or maybe it feels okay to look under the right arm. Continuing to breathe here. Then inhale, coming back up. Exhale, lower the right. Rolling shoulders up, back and down. Again, inhale, reaching the left hand up, and then exhale over to the right. Same thing here. You can walk out that right hand a little bit longer to the side here. Gaze can look under the left arm or down towards that mat. Making sure that that hip doesn't come up in order to find more of that stretch. Inhale, coming back up to center. Exhale, lowering the left. Finding some seated cat-cow here. I'm going to turn to the side so that way you can see a little bit clearer here. The hands can be resting on the thighs here. Inhale, lifting the chest forward and up as the shoulders come back. So you're finding that dip or that curve in that spine here. Gaze and chin can come up. Try not to hyperextend here with the neck. Just come up enough that you feel a little bit of that stretch in the front of the throat, maybe even the chest. And then on the exhale, rounding, the shoulders are coming forward, that back is curving here, finding that C shape. And then if you want, you can even bring, clasping the fingers, hands together, and then pushing the palms away from you as the chin drops down towards the chest. You might feel that intense stretch in the back of the shoulders here. Inhale, coming back to that cow. And then exhale back into your cat. And then maybe just moving with your breath here. So letting your body guide you as you inhale, coming to your cow, and then on your exhale, going back into your cat. So knowing that we might all be going at a different pace. So letting your body guide you as to what your body needs right now. And then when you're ready, coming back to a neutral spine here, we're going to make our way into tabletop position. So you can rock forward. So you're now on the hands and the knees. So that can look something like the hands just under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. So the shoulders you generally want over the wrist here. Tabletop position, knees under those hips. And then go ahead and turn the fingers towards the body here. So on the side, hopefully you can see me here. So the fingers are pointed towards my legs here, or towards me. Finding that stretch here on the forearms. And then slowly rocking back. You'll feel more of an intense stretch. So if that feels too intense, come forward. So what I mean here is that you're going from the shoulders over the wrists to now the shoulders are away from the wrists. So you can see I've created an angle here. Inhale, coming back to neutral here. And then exhale, finding that deeper stretch here. And if you work at a desk or an office job, you'll find that the wrists do tend to get tight here, especially typing at the computer. So this is a good one for a carpal tunnel. And then when you're ready, bringing those hands back to the front. So those fingers are pointed away again. And then go ahead and bring the knees out towards the long edges of the mat. Big toes can touch. And then on the exhale, bringing the hips back towards the heels. Finding that child's pose here. And the forehead can come down onto the mat, arms extended long. Or maybe you prefer a bolster or even a block maybe to rest the head on. Whatever feels good for you here. I like to bring the knees out towards the long edges of the mat. It allows my torso room to come down to the mat. But you're always welcome to bring the knees in a little bit closer together. It's just finding what works for you and your body. Knowing that you have permission to do that. Noticing how the breath moves here. Maybe noticing the belly expand against the thighs. And then on your next inhale, coming back up to that tabletop pose. And then we're going to find our way into our first downward dog of the class. So bringing the palm or hands about a palm print distance in front of where they already were. So instead of being under the shoulders, I'm now away from the shoulders here. Tucking those toes, lifting those knees up a few centimeters off the mat. And then on the exhale, pushing the chest towards the thighs and then lifting up those hips. You might notice that the heels come down towards the mat, or maybe they're still up a little bit. And knowing that it's okay to bend the legs here, bend those knees. But you'll notice that you'll feel more intensity in the hamstrings here once those heels come closer towards the mat. And you're welcome to even find a pedaling of the feet here. And by that I mean straightening one leg, bending the opposite, and then switching sides. So you might even like to find a movement with the breath here. So inhale, then exhale, switching sides. All right, and then making time to find stillness here. And then on the inhale, we're going to come to a high plank. I think my ferns might be in the way here. So I'm just going to move back just a little bit. Finding that high plank here, so the shoulders are now back over those wrists. And you can lower the knees down if that feels too intense, or you're feeling it way too intense on that low back. Try to tighten in those abdominal muscles. And then on the exhale, we're going to slowly lower down, bending in those elbows, allowing those triceps here to lower us all the way down gently, untucking the feet here. And then bringing the hands by the chest. And then engaging those leg muscles here, pushing through the tops of the feet. As you inhale, lifting up, you can do a baby cobra here, elbows in tight, or even coming up all the way. Allowing that chest to come forward and up. And then exhale, lower back down. One more time here. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower back down. All right, we're going to bring the arms wide, forming a T shape with those arms. So the arms are coming out wide. We're going to bend that left leg. So the foot is now pointed up towards the ceiling. You can rest that right cheek down on the mat. And then on the inhale, bringing that left foot over to the right side. Your right hand might even be close to touching the toes here. Or maybe you have no idea where that foot is compared to your hand. So just acknowledge maybe if you can touch and if you can't, know that that's okay. Maybe the foot is even up here. Then inhale, bringing that leg back down. Switching sides. So coming or resting the head on that left side of the face. Bending that right leg. So the right foot is pointed up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, bringing that right foot or right leg over. And then maybe here, you can reach or find that right foot with that left hand. You can see I have some equipment here that's kind of in the way, so that was kind of fun, finding my foot there. Then on the inhale, coming back down with that leg. All right, bringing those hands in close towards the chest. Finding that cobra, stretch again, elbows pointed back. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering back down. All right, finding our way back on an exhale to your version of child's pose, whatever that looks like for you, whether the knees are out towards the long edges of the mat or close in together. Then on the inhale, we're going to come back to that tabletop position, adjusting the hands, bringing them closer to the long edge or top edge of that mat, tucking those toes. And then exhale, lifting up for your downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet or finding stillness here, whatever works for you. Then on the inhale, we're going to raise up that right leg. Exhale, stepping that right leg forward. So you want that bend in that right leg. Go ahead and drop down that left knee, untuck that back foot, and then sit up tall here so you find that stretch in the left hip flexor here. You can use that right forearm to just rest down on that right thigh here. Finding that hip flexor stretch here in that left. And then on the inhale, lifting our left arm up tall. And then on the exhale, Bringing that left hand over to the right side. So you're finding that side stretch too here. So you might notice the stretch got a little more intense here. Gaze can look down towards the ground, maybe facing ahead of you, whatever feels okay on the neck. Then on the inhale, bringing that left hand back up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower that left hand down. And then we're going to walk that right foot out to the right edge of the mat, finding that hip opener here on that right side. So if you have blocks, you could always come up on those blocks on the hands here, knowing that you have different heights. Or if you want to come down, you maybe even want to bring the forearms down to that mat. It just depends how open you are here or how flexible you are in the hips. So knowing you've got those options here. And then when you're ready, bringing that right knee back in to meet the left. Exhale, finding your child's pose here just briefly. Then inhale, coming back to that tabletop, adjusting the hands, getting ready to find your downward facing dog on the exhale. And then you guessed it, we're going to do the other side. So on the inhale, lifting up that left leg. Exhale, stepping that left foot forward. Go ahead and lower that right knee. Untuck that back foot and then try to sit up tall here. Using that left forearm to rest on that left thigh. Finding that hip flexor stretch here. So some people like to deepen the stretch, so you can always sink in that hip a little bit, but sometimes even bringing that knee back, because that way you're elongating that muscle, right? Finding that stretch, as opposed to contraction where things are tightening. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the hands down towards the mat or to the blocks. And then walk out that left foot to the left side or left edge of that mat. Finding that hip opener here on that left side. This can get can become quite an intense stretch here. So making sure to move slowly here, not trying to rush into it. And then as you're ready, coming up just slightly, and then bringing that left knee back to meet the right. And then on your exhale, finding that child's pose again. And then on the inhale, coming back to that tabletop position, adjusting those hands, getting ready for that downward facing dog, tucking those toes. Exhale up to your down dog. Maybe finding the dancing in those feet, pedaling them out. And then on the next inhale, bringing those shoulders over the wrist for that high plank. Knowing you've got that option again here to lower those knees. And then on the exhale, slowly lowering the chest down. Now with that one, you always want to try to remember to keep the elbows in tight. If the elbows are out, they can cause injuries. So we're looking for more stable movements here. And then coming up for that cobra, or maybe even your upward facing dog. So allowing the chest to come forward and up here. Maybe the gaze coming up just a little bit higher. And then exhale, go ahead and lower back down to the mat, tucking those toes. This time, exhale, push yourself up to that high plank. And then exhale, finding your way to that down dog. Inhale here. And then on your exhale, walking the feet to meet the hands, finding your forward fold here. And knowing with the forward fold, you can always keep the knees bent here. And then allowing that forehead to come down or face down towards the mat. And then inhale, straightening those legs as you come up for a halfway lift. Legs engaged here. Hands can rest on the thighs or maybe even down towards the shins. Elbows up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then exhale, lower back down to your forward fold. Bending into those knees as you inhale, slowly rising all the way up. Gaze coming up towards the palms as they touch overhead. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale, lifting the hands up. Then exhale, letting those hands float down to the side. Bringing the feet wider than the hips. We're going to find some dancing movement here with the arms. So inhale, raising up the right. Exhale, lowering the right as you raise up the left. So just like that, finding your breath here. Finding the arms, dancing. And this time, on the inhale, as you raise the right, go ahead and just try to bring that right hand down to touch that left shoulder and bringing that left hand over to the right hip. And then on the exhale, lowering that right, switching sides here. So now the left hand is touching, or left fingers are touching the right shoulder, right hands or fingers are touching that left hip. Inhale up. Exhale, other direction. Inhale. Exhale, other direction. This time on the next inhale, you're going to try to reach the left fingers to the right fingers. Maybe even able to hook into those fingers. Or if you have a strap handy, you can always go ahead and grab that strap and see if that can help you get a little bit closer. And then maybe walking down those hands closer together. So now you've got those options here. Last time here. All right, finding those feet beneath the hips, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, palms facing forward. Inhale, reaching those hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, lowering those hands down to the sides. Inhale, reaching those hands up. This time taking the right hand around that left wrist. Inhale, lifting up tall. And then exhale over to the right. Finding that side bend here, especially maybe even feeling it in that armpit area. So really think about lifting up those fingers tall and then exhaling over to the right. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, letting those hands float back down to the sides. Inhale, reaching those arms up and then switching sides. So left hand grabs onto that right wrist, lifting up tall on that inhale, and then exhale over to the left. Finding that stretch along the right side of the body here. Inhale, come back to center. And then on the exhale, finding that swan dive. So hinging at the hips here, arms coming wide all the way down, allowing the bend in the knees if that feels better. Takes off the pressure of the low back and the hamstrings here. Then on the inhale, coming up for that halfway lift, back is flat. Crown of the head is facing forward, allowing that dip in that cervical spine here. Elbows pointed back. And then exhale, finding that forward fold again. Keeping a bend in those knees as you inhale, slowly coming all the way back up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, bringing those hands to the hips. Shifting the weight into that left leg, and then as you exhale, stepping back with that right leg. So you're finding that hip flexor stretch again here, and then on the inhale, lifting those hands up. So arms are engaged here, so you're on the ball of that back foot, or maybe you want to drop that heel, so now that foot is maybe on a 45-degree angle. So knowing that crescent, and then warrior one, that's the difference here. And then on the exhale, opening up into that warrior two. So the difference with that warrior two is that that toes are pointed towards the right edge of your mat here now. And then that knee is bent in the front, arms are long here, fingers pointing in opposite directions, reaching in opposite directions here. Gaze looking down the middle finger of that left. And then on the inhale, you're going to bring that right arm back and up, spinning on that back foot. So you're now back into that crescent pose. And then exhale, lower the hands down to frame that left foot. And then when you're ready, exhale, stepping that right foot forward into a forward fold. Inhale, raise it all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, bringing those hands to the hips. This time we're going to switch sides. So shifting the weight into that right foot. Inhale here, then exhale, stepping back with that left. Once you're feeling good and stable here, knee over that right ankle if it feels okay, and then on the ball of that back foot, inhale, lifting those hands up. And then as you're ready, on the exhale, opening up into that warrior two here. Some people like to make sure that that front heel, if you were to draw a line, that it would come under that arch of that back foot. But you know, it's really up to you here. As long as it feels okay in your body. Looking down or gazing down that middle finger of that right hand. Inhaling here, exhaling. Then on the next inhale, coming back to that crescent pose. So the left arm swoops forward and up, spinning on that back foot. And then exhale, lower the hands down to frame that right foot. And when you're ready on your next exhale, stepping that left foot forward to meet the right. Finding that forward fold here, keeping that bend in the knees as we inhale, slowly coming all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then taking a moment here to maybe testing your balance. So keeping the hands at heart center, coming up on, so lifting up the heels, just coming up onto the toes. And then exhale, lower. This time lifting up the toes here, so you're just coming up on the heels, is shifting the weight back into the heels. So all you're doing is shifting the weight here into the toes and then the heels. Just testing your balance a little bit here. All right. And then as you're ready on the inhale, lifting those hands up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then exhale, hinging forward all the way down to your forward fold. And then if your hands are on the ground, go ahead and step back with those feet into that high plank. And then on the exhale, finding yourself down into your chaturanga, all the way down into that prone position. And then inhale, finding your way back into that cobra pose here. Exhale, lower the chest down. This time we're going to find some stretches in the quads here. So go ahead and bend that left leg so the foot is now up towards the back of the head. I like to lower the forearm down in front of me like that, so that way I can have a little bit of balance here as I inhale, reaching that right foot back to the left foot. So you're finding an opener here on that shoulder that's reaching back. And then the closer that the heel gets towards the buttocks here, the more intense you'll feel that stretch in the quadriceps. You might even want to gaze over that right shoulder here. And then exhale, switch sides. Inhale, reaching back for that opposite leg. This is where a strap can come in handy too. And then on the exhale, lower that leg back down, keeping those hands by the chest here as you inhale, pushing yourself up to that tabletop position. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, coming back to tabletop. And then as you're ready, exhale, bringing that right foot to the front. So finding a twist here, we're going to bring that left hand down to the mat or maybe even to the block. And then on the inhale, you're going to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling or the sky. So you can see this has been focused a lot on the hip flexors here. And then exhale, lower down. Switching sides here. So bringing that right knee back to meet the left. Stepping that left foot forward, and then bringing that right hand down to the mat or to the block, and then inhale, reaching that left hand up to the sky. Gaze can look up, or maybe it feels better on the neck to look down. So remembering here, it's just about what feels good for you right now, or what your body needs. And then exhale, lower that left hand down, and then bring that left knee to meet the right. Exhale, finding your child's pose. Inhale, coming back to that tabletop, and then exhale, stepping that right foot forward. Now we're going to lift up that back leg. So the left hand can be to the mat or to the block. Remembering you've got different heights here that you can use. And then on the inhale, reaching that right arm up. And then exhale, lower that left knee down. We're going to switch sides, so bringing that right knee back to meet the left. Exhale, stepping the left foot forward. So I've got my ankle under my knee right here before I go ahead and lift up that back leg. So same thing here, using the right hand down to the mat or to the block, and then on the inhale, lifting that left arm up towards the sky or to the ceiling. And then on the exhale, lower that right knee back down to the mat, using that hand for balance here, bringing that left knee back, and then exhale, finding your child's pose. Inhale, coming back to tabletop. Adjusting the hands, getting ready for your last downward facing dog of this class. Exhale, finding your downward facing dog. And then on the next exhale here, I want you to try to reach that right hand towards that opposite foot. And if you can only bring it halfway, that's fine. Maybe just tapping it briefly and then bringing that right hand back to the front. Exhale, bringing the left hand over to that right foot. Inhale, finding that downward facing dog. And then as you're ready, walking the hands to the feet, so you're going to be at the back of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale, lower to that forward fold. Inhale, slowly rising all the way up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a moment to shake it out here a little bit in those legs. And then inhale, lifting the hands up. Exhale, letting those hands float down to the sides. Bring the feet a little bit wider than the hips, or maybe you like to bring it up even wider. It's just personal preference here. Bringing the hands to clasp to rest on that low back. Inhale, rolling the shoulders back as you lift that chest forward, and then hinging up the hips on the exhale here. So slowly lowering so that chest is coming down towards the thighs, crown of the head is reaching down towards the mat. And on the next inhale, maybe even lifting up those hands here, finding the extra stretch in the shoulders. So you should be feeling this in the hamstrings or the back of the legs here. And then the shoulders also. And then slowly on an inhale, lower those hands back down to the back, slowly rising all the way up. All right. And then shake it out a little bit. We'll go ahead and find some balance poses here. So I want to find a quadricep stretch here. So shifting the weight into that left foot, reaching or bending that right leg, reaching back with the hand here for that foot. And then once you're good and solid here, if you have a counter near you, you could always just rest, or a wall, just like holding on, and then bringing that heel in towards the buttocks. That way you're going to feel more of that stretch in the quadriceps and that right leg. Sometimes even keeping a bit of a bend in the stabilizing leg, so in this case it would be the left, can help with balance. And then looking forward about eye level on a spot that won't move, or maybe even a few feet in front of you on your mat or your ground. And then on the exhale, go ahead, shake out that right leg. We're going to switch sides. Rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Finding that quick mountain pose here. And then shifting the weight into that right leg as you reach back with that left hand to that right foot, left foot. You could have done that. Actually, if you want, we can try that now. So bringing the right hand to the left foot. You might notice that that shoulder opens up even more. Fun to just finding a different groove. And then as you're ready on the exhale, lower that left leg down, shaking it out here. All right, finding that mountain pose again. So feet under the hips, rolling the shoulders up, back and down, palms facing forward. Inhale, reaching those hands up, palms touch. Exhale, bringing those hands down to heart center. Then if you want, you can bring the feet out a little bit wider than the hips. And on the exhale, slowly lowering those hips, making sure your weight is in those heels, sinking down. You maybe go all the way to the mat or staying up here, or maybe even using a block if this feels too intense. So knowing that you've got those options here, you can even stack the blocks. But you'll notice that you'll find that stretch along those inner leg muscles here. So this has been a lot about the hips. So you can even use those elbows to push away those knees a little bit, just making sure that it feels okay here. And then just rocking from side to side gently. Or if you're up off those blocks, might look something like this. And know that ankle mobility comes into play here. So it might actually feel quite intense on the ankles. So if that's the case, just come up a little bit higher. Or you might even need to like raise up the toes. All right, and then when you're ready, come to pause here, bringing the thumbs towards the sternum. Acknowledge the breath, the inhales and the exhales. And then when you're ready, finding your way down to the mat. And then extending that right leg long, keeping that or bending that left leg, and then bringing that left foot over the right leg. Go ahead and hug that left knee or left shin with that right arm. And then bring that left hand behind you. Inhale, sit up tall here. And then exhale, finding that twist to the left. And you might feel that intensity on that left buttocks here. Gaze can look over that left shoulder. Or maybe you prefer looking forward. And inhale, coming back to center, switching sides. Left leg extends long, right leg bends. Hugging that the right leg or right shin in with that left arm. And then bringing that right hand behind you. Maybe gaze looking over that right shoulder. And then when you're ready on an inhale, come back to center. Finding that butterfly stretch here. We're going to bring the soles of the feet to touch in front of you here. And the closer the feet are in towards the hips, the more intense the stretch will be. So the key is here to try to let the knees float out to the sides or rest out towards the sides. So that way you feel that stretch along the inner hip here and those inner leg muscles. And then you can grab onto the toes or the feet, anywhere that feels good. Maybe you even might prefer the shins. And then sit up tall here and really try to feel that stretch there in those hips. Chest coming up tall, gaze looking forward. Maybe even lifting up the gaze a little bit higher, finding that stretch here in that front of the throat. And on an exhale, relax. Go ahead and extend the legs long. And if you have blocks, always, use them however you wish. Sometimes it's always cool seeing how people use blocks in their practice, that ways I never even thought of. So that's kind of the bummer here with teaching where I can't see anyone. So, feel free, like I said, to use them any way you wish. So on the inhale, sit up tall here, finding that staff pose. You use blocks to the side so the hands can help push you up if your arms are a little bit shorter. Finding that staff pose, so you're thinking about flexing the feet. So that by that I mean the toes coming closer towards the body and lifting up tall here. And then exhale, relax. Then on an inhale, sit up tall as though a string is pulling your spine up a little bit taller. And then on the exhale, just walking those hands down to find that forward fold here. Maybe it feels too intense, so you're welcome to bend the knees just a little bit, bringing that chest down towards the thighs. Letting the head rest here. Then on the inhale, slowly coming back up. And then on the exhale, making your way back down onto your back, just as we began our practice today. You're welcome to find a stretch here or pose that you prefer ending your practice with. Sometimes people really enjoy that happy baby. So bringing in the knees towards the chest, extending those legs just a little bit longer, and then allowing those knees to rest out towards the sides here, and those fingers wrapping around those toes. I like to let my elbows rest in towards the inner part of the calf muscles here, or the medial part of the calf muscle. Maybe you want to rock the baby side to side, massaging out that low back. And then when you're ready on the next inhale, find a pause or stop in that motion. And then on the exhale, extending the legs long. Maybe bringing the feet out towards the long edges of the mat, rolling the shoulders back as the palms lift up towards the sky or the ceiling. And then maybe taking a moment to soften that gaze. Finding your way back to how we began our practice. Coming back to the breath. Acknowledging the breath here, how it sustains you. The power of the breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Letting the belly expand on the inhales, allowing the air to enter all the way in. And then on the exhale, letting those muscles relax. And then you can stay here as I'm going to sit up just to close our practice today. Finding my way back into a seated position. Inhale, raising the hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands down to heart center. So knowing you can be here with me right now doing this, or you can be resting on your mat. Know that you've got that option. And then I'm just going to close my eyes here. Finding gratitude for myself for making it onto my mat today. And then finding gratitude for yourself to making it onto your mat. Knowing sometimes it's, the hardest part is to make that time for yourself. So finding that gratitude, knowing that you made it here on your mat today. And then letting the chin come in towards the chest, finding that bow of the head here, leaving you with words, peace, love, and yoga. Hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Whether that's going back to work or maybe it's doing some yard work or something. Hopefully you'll find some time to get out and enjoy the weather if it's nice where you are. Thank you.